my engineer and my assistant Andrei is not today, so I'm trying to do what he taught me, but it didn't work out. So probably I need a bit more time to manage it all. I'm very sorry. So let's go back to Trump. He had quite a passionate, powerful speech today for Davos members, and there were a few messages. Obviously, he was sending a message for the EU, for some regulations, the business. He again stressed out that he wants work with. Good evening, Nura. Good evening. So, and he wants to work with China and some tariffs, so you can clearly see his business mind. And there were more messages to Putin and more information he disclosed on peace negotiations. So just so Putin and promising peace in Ukraine, and some of the guests who were able to ask the questions actually did. It's like, next year when you come over, President Trump, do you think it's going to be peace, or was like the end of war? Well, he didn't answer. I was waiting and I couldn't yeah, but he's politician, he wouldn't give us a straight answer, would he? So when there was the part of his speech addressed to Putin, I had a feeling like he already continuing negotiate with Putin, because today he was saying, oh, Putin doesn't want to kill people, people dying, millions of people dying, it's horrible, this horrible war, it's the first one since World War II, we have to stop it, and Putin doesn't want to kill people. It's like, really? Why would he send all those missiles and Oreshniks? And I sensed today that he was actually giving this opportunity to Putin to save I sensed that Trump today during his speech in Davos was given a chance to save the face. Hi, Jenny. Well, hi, I'm Ukrainian, but I'm based in London. I live in London since 2011, so I might picked up something from my husband and my British friends, but I think my accent is quite Ukrainian. So yes, and if you remember, Trump a few days ago was saying that basically using his favorite tactic, blackmail, threatening unspecified sanctions. And he knows, because I've heard these rumors from Putin's circles, that the worst thing for Putin and his team, it's the sanctions. It's not actually Ukrainian territory. And this is what they're going to try to ease up during peace negotiations. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Warm wishes from India. Thank you very much. My best regards to India, my Ukrainian. Oh, thank you. Thank you for your support to Ukraine. Means a lot. Yes, it is. So, on one hand, Trump already started threatening and mentioning tighter and stronger sanctions. On the other hand, today he was saying, oh, Putin wants to negotiate, he doesn't want to kill people. So now, for myself, I might be totally wrong, but I think now we have to look closely at Kremlin and the signals they're gonna oh, hello India, we have lots of people from India today. How lovely. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome, happy to see you here. So let's see what kind of signals during the next week we're gonna... Hello, Said. Said. Okay. Oh no. We wish we British are on Team Russia. Oh, right. You're British on Team Russia. Okay, well, I'm very sorry you're on the wrong side of history. Think again, and you still can support Ukraine and all the people who are on the Ukrainian side. Yes, you're absolutely right. There's going to be push and pull in negotiations. Yeah, but I'm glad. I'm glad. Honestly, I haven't decided my sentiments about President Trump, but I'm glad he's using the same tactics as Putin, threatening, blackmail, and he already started speaking from the sort of strong position. This is, I think Putin understands only when somebody speaks from the position of force and strength. Aha. Beatles or Taylor Swift? Oh, both. I like I like both. There are songs I love from Beatles, and obviously I have a teenager daughter, but I love. There are several songs of Taylor Swift which I have on my playlist when I'm running. So. Also, this week, President Zelensky reminded us what Moscow wanted during negotiations at the beginning of full-scale invasion. Do you remember those trips when they were meeting in Belarus and somewhere else? Sort of like the peaceful negotiations and everything. So what actually Russia demanded? They recognized the entire Donbass as a part of Russian Federation, the official status of the Russian language, amend the constitution of Ukraine to grant the state a neutral status, reduce the Ukrainian army to 50,000 people, destroy or transfer to Russia all weapons within 20 kilometers from the front line. So you can understand that's why those negotiations were doomed, and they've never been negotiations. So Russia was just like pretending. And there was the ultimatum Ukraine could never ever accept. And well, Putin is a murderer. And so President Zelensky just reminded us this week. Can you say salam? Salam? Good evening, Jenny. Hi, Gail. Hi. I'm in the UK. You're in the UK. But I'm Ukrainian who is based in the UK. So Trump does strategy to challenge both countries to come to an agreement. Well, I think both countries have like solid ground, so we'll see what's going to be the common ground for war is awful. Oh, yes. Well, the only thing is Russian kids do have peaceful nights, Ukrainian kids do not, and there's nowhere safe in Ukraine anywhere. Sort of the missiles come in the east in the west. East is constantly. Kiev doesn't have peaceful nights, and so there's no safe place for Ukrainians. Russians do have safe place because Ukraine targets only military targets or military base. So I think that we have to recognize those differences. It's important. You're both part of former USSR, yes. Well, no, Ukraine was occupied by Soviets. Have a look at the books, Mr. Singh, and you will see how long Ukraine was fighting for its independence and how many prominent people, generations, sacrificed their life during this fight for independence. So it's not equal. And those countries who were part of the USSR, they would confirm you. It's like among 15 countries which were part of the USSR, everyone was equal, but Russians were a bit higher than equal. So it wasn't really, and you were mocked, humiliated, and charged criminal charges for speaking your language, for interested in your history, in your identity. So it's not like that, Mr. Singh. Good morning from Australia. Good morning, Australia. Happy to have you here. Well, it's not about human race. No, Russians, they treated everyone within Soviet Union with chauvinism. So they were mocking and joking and humiliating everyone for speaking own language or speaking Russian with the accent, especially people from Armenia, from Georgia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. Ukraine was mocked for speaking Russian with Ukrainian accent. No, it wasn't same. It was very much chauvinism practiced. Ask Crimean Tatars who were replaced and disconnected from their roots. No, it wasn't like that, Mr. Singh. Ukraine is a brother. is no brother. Of course not. Ukraine is dependent and always will be. Absolutely, Gail. Absolutely. Thoughts on Tucker Carlson? Oh, that's a hard one. Well, he definitely knows what to do to attract attention and to stay relevant. Is it his beliefs? I think if that's what he really thinks, and for example, his trips to Russia and his coverage of interview or going to supermarket. I think there was something about bread, and he was glorifying Russia and their lifestyle. It's all rubbish, and it's not really journalism. And in Russia, there is no freedom for coverage or anything. Things what they really are. So I think as a journalist, as a media persona, he just is trying to be relevant, and because he has recognition and popularity in the on the global scene, so he was given access, for example, to Putin. If he didn't have those accesses, I don't think anybody would be interested in his work or anything he does. So it's very controversial. And sometimes I'm watching American or any sort of like people sort of like on the other side of politics or war or anything, to see the arguments, how they build in the logic. For example, in 2014 I started watching Russian television just to understand how the nation can say it's okay if we steal a piece of your land, like it would happen when annexation of Crimea or invading East, and how they sort of normalize it for dozens of millions of people there. How it's okay to rob somebody or steal. I couldn't comprehend it. So I started watching it, and I just realized that there's just like, it's a different planet, brainwashed, and this Russian imperialism and chauvinism, I don't think there's a chance to get better. I think many of them are very much infected of it. It's my opinion. So yeah, it's who's responsible for between? Well, Putin is responsible, Mr. Singh, because he sort of like the Soviet maniac who wants to occupy. He wants Ukraine without Ukrainians. He doesn't accept his poor knowledge of history and his manipulation with history, like, for example, the fact that Ukraine was created by Lenin. Well, little does he know that Ukraine actually has 2000 history, and while in Kiev there were printed books, and Yaroslav the Wise, the ruler of Kiev and Rus, was sending his daughters to be wives of the top European dynasties, there was Moors, and nothing, no sort of like blink of civilization was going in Moscovia. So yeah, he needs to read the books. Thoughts, we've been here. Who's responsible for the war between Putin? I don't think it's US. If US wasn't involved, Ukraine would be occupied, and millions of people would be killed, and that's it. And Ukrainian identity would be destroyed. So US is not to blame for. There are mistakes and problems which with the American assistance, but no, I don't think it's. Fortunately, Sain says, unfortunately, this is what happens when the war occurred. What happened to Israel is a nightmare. Absolutely. What happened to Ukraine is also now. Where is diplomacy of NATO? Well, you see, if you're new on the podcast, there's one thing. If you've been quite some times and watched videos which I post on Sunday, there's video with British General Shiref, and he was the deputy commander of Allied Forces of NATO in Europe. And he was explaining about this NATO approach, that NATO is very slow and bureaucratic machine. And yes, the organization was created to be able to fight the war and prevent the war, but they also using like everything they have to avoid to avoid NATO forces to be part of the war. But you have to understand this Article 5, which basically it's not automatic. If one of the NATO country involved, it's not automatically everyone else is a part of war. No, each country have to vote independently. They actually, but they used all the mechanism to prevent and stop the war rather than jump and make most of the fight. So hopefully NATO learned their lessons, and we have new Mark Rutte, and hopefully it will be different now. And from what I hear, there is discussion behind the closed doors about the foreign armed forces in Ukraine, because obviously for Ukraine it's too much. Do you know Eristavi? Gail asking, do you know Maxim Eristavi? I'm reading his book. No, I haven't heard about him, but I'll check him out. Why do you ask? What kind of book is that? Is it about war, or is just something about Ukraine, Gail? Today I want to talk to you at the end about the film we all have to watch. The new film come out about Putin, made by Polish film director Petro Vega. But please wait, stay with me, and we will have a chat about it. Okay, so about Ukraine and what happened this week. On 22nd of January, Russian Colonization 101. I would love to read that. I haven't read it. No. It's interesting. What do you like it? Do you find it fascinating? It's probably opening up a lot about chauvinism, colonialism, and Russian imperialism, Gail, right? I'll check this book, definitely will. Thank you. So, it was Day of Unity on 22nd of January. And have you heard about Day of Unity in Ukraine? Because it's a big thing. Right. Gail says, summary of all the different countries who have been invaded over the last century concerning the conflict. Thank you, Supreme Commander, about Scott Ritte, but I suspect you are the Russian camp. You are the Russian team, so I suspect your Scott Ritte is doing the Russian propaganda thing. Okay. Do you know what, Gail? I'll check him out, because I would be interested to interview him. Absolutely. Thank you for the suggestion. So I want to tell you about this the Day of Unity of Ukraine, because it's a huge day and has a profound meaning for all Ukrainian people. Let me know if you heard about it. So in 1919, the Act of Union of Ukrainian People's Republic and the Western Ukrainian People's Republic was proclaimed. So they united two parts of Ukraine on Sophia Square in Kiev. Sophia Square has a symbolic meaning because it's by the oldest church, the oldest cathedral in Ukraine, St. Sophia's Cathedral. When you come to Ukraine, please go and have a look. And it's absolutely amazing historical bits there, the atmosphere. I'm sure if you see some coverage of President Zelensky or the First Lady of St. Sophia. So that was happened in 1919. They proclaimed the act. But in 1990, thousands of people created a living chain through the whole country. The unity from Ivano-Frankivsk to Kiev, and according to official data, there was 450,000 people took part. According to unofficial data, about 5 million. This action took place in Dnipro, Kharkiv, Odessa, Donetsk, Luhansk, and other cities and towns and villages, in particular east and south of Ukraine. And Unity Day is a reminder of our strength and how united we all are. Do you know, I remember the coverage on TV, on news about this living chain. I was small, I was a child, but I still remember I couldn't comprehend it. It's actually, how come people like millions of people they hold in their hands, and it's cold. Mind, in Ukraine it can be 25, minus 25, minus 15. I don't know. I don't remember the temperature we had back then. Also, this week happened. What happened? Ukrainian authorities identified all people who were shooting civilians in Bucha. Do you remember Bucha, when Kiev was surrounded and part of the Kiev region was occupied by Russians in March, in March and a bit February 2022, and you remember those photos that shook the world. So basically, all 12 people, 12 Russian servicemen and their commander were identified, and Ukrainian investigators found out there were 16 servicemen. No, there were 12 Russian paratroopers who shot dead civilians in Bucha, and 16 people were targeted and died. Among them women, teenagers, and basically people from the age of 16 till 69. Russian officer gave them an order to take position and kill everyone they could see. He coordinated everything. He was making sure about the rotation. And the Ukrainian investigators established that all the Russian servicemen are from regiment that is based in Pskov. Have you watched bits of Trump inauguration? So if you did, who stole the show? Tell me in the let me know in the comments, in the chat, who stole the show. I won't wait, and I of course it was Elon Musk, and he was the main newsmaker at the inauguration, and Trump was annoyed by his behavior. Apparently there's rumors about it, and there might be coming some political consequences for Musk. In general, the Trump circle, or people from his circle, they say he's quite annoyed by Elon Musk behavior, and he really doesn't like when some commentators or TV presenters, especially opposition ones, say President Musk, because apparently Musk has lots of influence and presence in the media space. If you see, Elon Musk didn't say anything new on Trump's inauguration about Mars. Then he did this gesture, provoked, that everyone is talking about. If Musk was born in the US, I would say he started own presidential campaign, but he can't become president. So he's just attention seeker, and I don't think he's actually prepared to do those duties where he was appointed by Trump, because those duties are for a person who can be number two. But Musk is always number one, and he can't put an effort in something which would be Trump's achievement. Let me know what you think about it. I think there's a crack or few cracks in their friendship, and we're gonna see a big political scandal soon. Mr. Singh saying, in India, Mahakumbh spiritual event is going on. How interesting. Ukrainian Russian devotees are living and enjoying the event happily. It's all because of dirty politics, because people from both sides are innocent. Well, it's what politics is. One person, Putin, invaded Ukraine. Zelensky, when he was coming, before he became president, he was saying, let's sit down and talk, we just need to stop shooting. But when he actually became president, he saw how difficult it is, and it's not as simple as it could, as he thought it was. So it's not politics. It's not sort of politicians. It's one person who decided to invade, and on a daily basis, sending bombs, sending missiles to Ukraine. Yes, Ukrainians, and well, you see, Russians want peace. Who Russians? Have you heard those interceptions when they say, oh, go and rape those Ukrainian women, oh, bring back, or when they were stealing toilets or some devices or things like that. Those Russians, or those Russians who send in their husbands to war because as soon as the husband is killed, they're gonna get paid millions. And there are, lots of in media stories where there's one husband number one, he went to war, died, she got the money, and then she sent the second husband. So what kind of Russians are you implying? You see, if they were not agree with his politics, Mr. Singh, Putin wouldn't be holding the power in Russia. So I think Putin does have, unfortunately, he does have lots of support, and many people are actually living and improve their living conditions because there's a lot of investments in the war machine in Russia. Many Western businesses still present in Russia and making lots of money because many left, so there's opportunities. So yeah, if there are few Russians, they don't want to, or they neutral, or they don't care. So, but the majority, unfortunately, millions of people support him. That's what I think. Okay, film about Putin. I think we all have to watch it, and it's on Darkest Secrets of Putin. And I mean, the film by Polish director Patryk Wega. The title is Putin, Unlock the Mind of Vladimir Putin. In Ukraine, this film comes out as Death of Putin, and it is like a series of chapters based on his significant events of his biography. And it's interesting because I did my research on his biography very deep, and I read lots of books when I was working with John Sweeney on the podcast about poisoning. And that podcast didn't come out because the company that commissioned it didn't want, it happened in summer 2021, and they didn't want any confrontation with Kremlin. So this film, I'm not going to spoil you because it's difficult to spoil, but there are a few things important. So there are a few versions of Putin's biography, how he was born. There's like the story that he is the late child of the couple from St. Petersburg, and there's the other version that he was born in Georgia and he was sent to the distant relatives because his stepfather hated him and beat him, and he was very miserable and unhappy, and Mr. Singh, I'll come back to you. Let me just finish about this Putin Putin film. So, and this story about him being in Georgia, and I as a journalist, I was picking up those bits, but there are I forgot the name of the British professor who wrote the book on Putin's biography, and he didn't support the version with Georgia because he says the boy from Georgia was 2 years old and his paternal name was Platonovich, was Vladimir Vladimirovich. But those things in Soviet Union you could solve with a few bribes and changed everything. So I don't know. Supreme Commander can't stop. Right. Okay. So Supreme Commander, I guess your house is safe and you didn't lose friends, and connections going really bad tonight. So in his interview, he said a few important things I would like you to know. Unfortunately, Putin has a significant influence in such countries like UK. Supreme Commander is a living example. Austria, and in general, according to film director, the West didn't do enough to actually stop Putin, and he thinks he did his research, and he was speaking to the people who are actually were very close to Putin, and he says Putin is a coward. Supreme Commander, own it. And so he felt the people needed to see him as a coward, because that way they could get rid of their fear of him. So Patryk Wega team spent almost 2 years creating their own original technology to make sure the actor who is playing looking exactly like Putin. And because so there was special technology used with AI, and the fact is really incredible. And because people all over the world, even in the United States, after watching the film, they said, wow, Putin. So tell me if you've heard about this film. Are you going to watch it? I would highly recommend it because it has very interesting angle and approach, interpretation, or showing us those chapters of biography. So please have a look if you like it, or maybe you don't agree with the film or some biography, because it's director's interpretation, isn't it? But there's a lot of facts in that film. Mr. Singh, you know, Jenny, Ukraine is just the host. Actual West and Russia are in war. Look, I would say the West is protected or in war with Ukrainian hands in a way, but it's why are you minimizing the Ukraine's role or Ukraine's choice, Mr. Singh? Ukraine is an independent country and doesn't want to be part of the Soviet Union. It's clear, simple, easy. So no, it's yes, West is in peace, and Putin testing a lot during this war in Ukraine, but don't minimize our wish for freedom and independence. And please read some books on history, on research in Ukraine, and to see how different are two nations, how different their history. I understand India is quite far and you have own issues and own peculiarities with your neighbors and political controversies, but those statements are not really true. So I would like you to have a look. Alaka Zaba saying, speaking of films, a good number of horror films. Oh, a horror film reminds me of Putin, and most American detest Putin, frankly. Oh, yes. Yes, you know, it's just evil. He really is. And it is horror. He is creating of horror. And you know, sometimes during my work with John Sweeney on this podcast, and I spoke with a few psychologists about this, his psychological portrait of Putin, and apparently he's very miserable. He's having lots of internal issues, like big number. I don't think he has some. I'm not a psychiatrist or anything, but I don't want to sort of interpret his evilness and misery he brings and everything what he creates and his greediness. Look at Russian people; they're so poor. You know, Moscow, only those who have access to the government, they super rich, or those who close to Putin's circle. But the rest, he doesn't care about. People dying, people don't have decent schools, decent hospitals, they don't have education. It's all sort of, it's unbelievable how he hates his own people. And only propaganda and war machine are working well. Oof. Johnny says, Kim is even better, he can walk the sun. I'm not sure what you mean. Hello, Jenny. Hello, Johnny. I mean, when you don't do anything, like, I mean, I'm referring to Russian people, and allow some evil people to get to the power. So it's just, this is what happens. So their country is in terrible, terrible state. And because they didn't fight Putin internally, Supreme Commander having lots of information tonight. Oh yeah, let's offend American people. Are you actually in the UK? Because I suspect this is targeting American people. It's very much Russian approach, Supreme Commander. Are you Russian? What? Reveal yourself. Leadership is hard. Yes. Brutal leadership is often stress response to a fear of failure. Agree. It's often why those without proper human response can exist brutal leaders. Yeah, but it's at the same time, when I hear these discussions about Putin's evil and everything, one of the explanations I found for myself, yeah, Jenny, you're right, just a troll. This troll can send nasty messages. So I command them. You did under some other videos, nasty comments. So yes, the leader is the reflection of the nation, and I think this is we have to accept it. That's the thing. Yeah, share what you think. Well, I didn't live in Germany. I went to Germany only for holidays, and I am quite happy being there as a tourist. Every country has own issues. There are issues you agree to live in. UK, life in the UK is not easy, especially since the Putin invaded Ukraine and the energy prices went up and everything became so expensive. No, it's not easy or any better, but there is difference living in Germany or living in Russia, and living in the UK. So let's not manipulate those things. Take care, Jenny. Logging off. Have a great weekend. Thank you. And I just want to remind everyone about the changes which will happen on this channel. So now the interviews I'm posting on Sunday at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. UK time, and we have two lives. It's 7:30 Monday Q&A. We discuss in the video which was posted the day before, and on Thursday we discuss in current events. It's just having a chat. So tune in, don't forget, and please check the videos on the platform already taken care. And I'm working to make those things interesting for you. Gail, again, thank you for the suggestion. I'll check out this author, and hopefully we will have interview about Russia, colonization and everything, what Ukraine going through. Maybe Mr. Singh will realize that actually it's not the same and not everyone was equal within the USSR or in any union with Russia. The country is ill of chauvinism, so no, it can't happen. Love the interviews. Oh, thank you, thank you. Which interview did you like the most? Yes, you're absolutely right, Johnny. It helps generate the traffic. Before I say goodbye, I would like to say thank you to all of you for finding time, spending this time with me, for all your likes, shares, comments, having this chat with you. I appreciate a lot. It means a lot to me and helps to promote this YouTube podcast. More topics you would be interested. By the way, one of our active and inspiring subscriber, Chris, asked me about Stepan Bandera, the controversial name and figure in Ukrainian history. Russian propaganda usually use him about Ukrainian nationalism and everything else. Let me know if you would be interested. I will check Greg Terry, Johnny, I will do, honestly. Fantastic. I'll check him. Thank you, Johnny, for suggestion. Oh, Maximilian, hello. I don't know if you've been last Thursday, but I actually showed the pictures and the videos about a story which goes behind Bus 407. So check it out, Maximilian. It's all there, how it's happened. And well done for doing your research. I really appreciate it. You like Hodges? Legenius, Aiden. Interesting. Do you know, maybe on Monday I'll be lucky to have live with the representative from International Legion, because they're just about to release their film. So if you're interested, check on Monday live 7:30. We might have interview live from the International Legion with Vlad. He's actually was already, but we will be talking about this film. I think it calls Summertime. And if you're interested, you can check out the trailers already on YouTube. Supreme Commander, have a cup of tea and relax. I will never ever, and Russia will never win. Let's accept this. And I don't need Russian citizenship. Aha, Maximilian, okay, you will, great. Mr. Singh, I wish Ukraine would get its lost land back. Yes, I wish, and I'm sure we will, but just so many people died. I lost many friends. Good for you and good for the entire world. Peace will be reestablished very soon. Please accept my blessing, humble lady. Thank you very much, Mr. Singh, for your kind and supportive words. Yes. So I will try to convince Vlad to join me on Monday evening, and we'll talk about it. Oh, thank you. He will be pleased. He's a really nice guy. Okay, I'm gonna say have a good evening. Enjoy your evening. I'm Jenny Klochko, and thank you for joining me tonight. And I'll see you on live on Monday, 7:30 time. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.